Hey everyone, this is Evie here, and sorry for the attire yet again. I promise you it's been washed. I am not re-wearing the same clothes for like 5 days in a row, and the best time I could film is early in the morning at this time, and it's already like 7:30, so just to let you know, it's easier for me to film at this time in the morning, just as always. What I wanted to talk to you all about is something that has been on my mind lately with this whole experience I've been through with my other daughter. I have twins, by the way. I have one daughter here sleeping in the background, and I'm trying to keep hush-hush. And I'm hoping my video will be able to pick up my voice. And then my other daughter is in hospital, and she might come home today. And that's part of the reason why my tarot perspective picture was posted a day early or the night before than today. And so there's a chance that I'd be picking her up from the hospital today. But I was thinking about just this whole experience. It's the feeling of perhaps losing a child. The feeling of loss, the feeling of spiritual disarray, and that gets to the title. My video prompt today is prayer and why we pray. And it's a very serious topic, dear and near to my heart, because I think that I come from a very fundamentalist Christian background. However, when you make that transition from fundamentalist Christian to pagan, you kind of forget along the way why we pray. And it doesn't have to do with the fact that that prayer has to do with Christianity or anything like that. It doesn't. Prayer has nothing to do with being Muslim. Prayer has nothing to do with being Jewish or any other religion. But we pagans, or most of us being pagan, I should say, I shouldn't say all of us are pagan, but most of our tarot community is built up of the Wiccans and pagans, and some of us are atheists. And some of us are still Christian, but we still use the tarot cards. But I wanted to talk about not the Christian part of our community or the other religious part of the community. I want to kind of focus on the atheist, pagan, Wiccan part of our community about this topic. And this is my first question for the day, which tarot card do all of you immediately think of when you think of prayer? Think about it. Think about it. About 50% of you or so will think this card. Most newbies, I'm not saying it's bad, this is a wrong answer, but most of the new learners of the tarot, or students of the tarot, I should say students of the tarot, but it's early in the morning. But most students of the tarot, especially in the beginning stages, will immediately say, it's the Star card. However, if you're that little bit more advanced student of the tarot, let's say you've been studying tarot for about maybe a few years or so, about 40% of you, about 30 to 40% of you, the other half, I should say, will say the Hangman is the card for prayer. Because he suspended an animation and he's kind of self-induced in this position. You're not wrong either. You are so not wrong that this is the card for prayer, pretty much. However, maybe let's talk about the less than 10% of you that is the rebel and says, it ain't the Star, it ain't the Hangman. It had to been the Hermit because it Prayer has to do with reflection and the self-reflection and your alone time and things like that. I've smelled you guys out. I knew you guys were going to say hermit. Maybe it's the atheist ones in our community, or the little rebel ones, or the little rebel tarot people in our community that are going to say the hermit, because prayer is all about self-reflection and self improvements and revealing the ones, helping one's soul to be satisfied. You're not wrong either. All those answers are not wrong. However, if you followed me on Instagram, spoiler alert, you already probably knew my big card reveal. But last night I was doing my tarot journaling, and it's on this page. I'm sorry, this page. I was doing my tarot journaling, and I was doing the emojis of the traditional symbols that you'll see in the moon card. I was sitting there going, moon, it is intuition, it's divine, it's the triple goddess, it's the female energy, and then you got the dogs plus 2. I put dogs plus 2 because I forgot to put the second dog. And then you got the water, and then you got the crab, and then you got the towers, and you got the path and the star. And you still got the stars in this card, believe it or not. It's right under the moon. The little spickle spuckles are still stars. So you still got some of those traditional, these are the traditional symbolisms in this card. So I wrote them all down. Just to let you all know, I was doing the Tarot Prague, Saki Tarot, what's the other one? The Kabbalistic Tarot, and the Native American Tarot. I had to be a rebel and choose 4 tarot cards. I don't follow rules. But yeah, I had to choose, I chose those 4 tarot cards, and they look nothing like the traditional moon card. They really don't. So for me to actually put the puzzle pieces together was kind of funny. It really was kind of funny. I was going down the moon, and I can read you some of this. I got light in the darkness, intuition, cosmic energy, lunar energy, full moon, insanity, illusion, and mental. The reason why I have that for the moon is because a lot of times when I draw the moon, it has to do, or in the past I drew the moon, it had to do with people who had drug addictions. I'm not going to point fingers and say names of my clients or the friends or family of those people, but most of the time when I draw the moon, it had to do with people who had major drug addictions or alcohol abuse and things like that. So most of the time when I draw the moon, it's not always a positive card, believe it or not. And sometimes that will happen. Certain phases in your life, you're going to draw cards and you're just going to say, that is not necessarily a negative card, but why it keeps coming up negative. And then you know why it's negative, and you're like, oh, please get yourself help in rehab. That's what I try to tell that one person, is like, you know, if you're going to keep drinking and do your drugs, you're going to lose everything. And he did. He lost everything. Well, that's not what I'm going to say, but that's not what I'm talking about today. But the moon card for me usually has to do with mental illness, not even mental illness, but I'm just saying that that's what has been coming up for me. So you're seeing the moon in a different perspective than that kind of intention is kind of different for me. So, and then I got to the dog. No, and then I wrote down some of the other keywords, and then I got back to the dogs here in the moon, and I got some keywords. I got on guard, the self, and then I got even pleading, and then that's when I went, wait a minute, howling of the moon, divine intuition, pleading, a little lobster coming out to get the little boogeyman lobster coming out to get the dogs. Sounds a lot like prayer. And it was like a revelation. I was like, oh, that's the best prayer card ever! It totally throws these ones out the window. I was having one of those moments. I was really feeling... I'm not saying these are wrong answers. They're not wrong answers. But we forget to put the moon card with it. Nerd out. Nerd out. I was having one of those moments last night. I was like, the moon card is prayer, or why we pray. But yes, that's exactly what the moon card is. Not that these other cards are wrong, but this card has to be part of that process of prayer, I should say. And that's what I wanted to talk to you all today. And why is it important for us still in the pagan community, or us that I know some of you are professed atheists, and I'm still talking to you too. But the ones that come out of those fundamentalist or Christian paradigm beliefs, I should say, or some fundamentalist beliefs that are not necessarily just Christian, Muslim, Jewish, etc., etc., etc. But those fundamentalist beliefs that, and we're trying to break away from all that and just say, no, this was not me, and this is not the right light that I want to see myself in. I want to talk to you old people today, and that's why I want to talk about prayer. The ones that broke free or never was part of that community or life path, which most of us came from that life path, I should say. And the reason why we pray is because we have, let's see ourselves as the dogs for a moment. Just humor me. See ourselves as the dog for a moment. We're sitting there howling at the moon. That's a form of communication to the divine. When you think of a wolf howling to the moon, that's a communication to another wolf. He's not just howling because he's howling. There is another, usually when a wolf howls at the moon, when we see the traditional pictures of wolves howling at the moon, everybody's seen it, werewolves howling at the moon, it's a way of communication to another wolf. He's just not howling for the sake of it. It's like me yelling in the forest and nobody hears it. Kind of one of those things. There's a tree in the woods, fall and make a sound. Kind of arguments. No. Most of the time when we howl or we speak or the wolf howls and speaks, it's in communication with another wolf or another animal. And that's kind of why I want to talk about the moon today. And I pulled the moon as my card yesterday. I nerd out too much. But yeah. So yeah, I just was thinking why we pray. Most of the times we come to a place why we pray because there's something really bad coming out from the depths and the abyss of the water. The water symbolizes the abyss, the depths, the unknown. Something comes out crawling and heads towards our direction with either our family or our friends, or we, and we're warning each other, or something is just happening in a unison. Something is happening, not just me, but something's happening together. And something lurks out of the depths. Something comes out of the depths, and it's a danger, an unseen danger. We're not really seeing this danger, or maybe we do see this danger, and that's why the wolves or dogs are howling at the moon. is that we see this danger and we're pleading to the divine, to the moon's energy, the divine energy, the goddess energy. Oh my God, please save me from this turmoil. Save me from this inevitable beast coming up from the depths. But little do we know, we see a path going away from this danger. Or we see the path and we are too afraid to go into the dark. We're too afraid to go in the dark to go where we need to go. That's the moon card. That's why I say this is the most powerful prayer card out there. And then the second stage of the moon card, and this is where I get the other cards out that we all picked out earlier, and I know you guys picked out these three. The star card. We use that as our guiding light and direction towards, going to a new light, praying, and trying to get ourselves out of that situation. That's the second stage of this card. This is the first stage of prayer. Inner turmoil. Something's coming out of the depths. Danger is coming out from the dark of the abyss. Second stage of prayer is the star card. We're finally realizing we need to get out and we need a guide, somebody guiding us out. And that's where the star card comes in, and then the third stage is the hangman, the act of praying, the act of realizing that we have to surrender our... Actually, these two cards are interchangeable in their positions. Where you got this is the act... No, would be the act of praying, the act of going inward, the act of meditation or reflection, prayer. And then you got the physical act of surrendering. Sorry, this is the second stage, third stage I mean, and this is the last stage. The hangman is the last stage. So the stages will go like this, and I'm hoping that, yes, it's in order, I think. No, this is a mirror reflection. This is an order. You have, moon is first. Something crawling out from the depths. There's a danger, unseen danger, or we know the danger of what's coming. Guidance is the second stage of prayer. We're looking for guidance, somebody to pull us out of the situation. The hermit is the act of praying, act of meditating, act of doing when it's necessary. And then you've got the last stage, which is the surrendering. There you go. Prayer. And it all began with the moon. And that's what I was doing in my tarot journal. I was like, But, okay, on another serious note, not just associating prayer with the tarot cards, which we just did, but I wanted to talk to you about why we should pray. How we should pray. I think even for us Wiccans, pagans, or even atheists that don't believe in prayer, the ones that don't believe in prayer in our community, we shall pray. We need to learn how to pray, because prayer is connecting into the collective consciousness, which I think you've heard that term a lot of times. We're tapping into our collective consciousness when we pray. That's why I believe prayer is to collect, to unify ourselves. All of us in this world, it's our way to bring ourselves together. For an example, when something in our world tragically happens, like let's take for an example 9/11 for us Americans. the towers were coming down, we all had a moment of just, oh my God, this is really happening kind of moment. If you felt that energy, this is the best example. If you felt that collective energy, of the masses, it will feel like a hum. It will be like a It's like that hum of despair. I'm just using despair as an example because not many of us or the world uses that collective energy when something positive happens. Like, for an example, a new baby being born. You don't have everybody in the world going, the baby's born. Or you don't have the collective consciousness saying, oh my gosh, we're all uniting under the same flag. Not happening yet. I'm sorry. I wish it would, but it's not going to happen anytime soon, as long as there's hate out there. But that's a different topic. But I want to talk about those destructive moments. You will feel a spiritual hum when something destructive like the two towers coming down. There's a collective consciousness or a collective you will feel in the world when something like that happens. It happened again with the Orlando. It happened when whenever there's an attack in Britain. It happens, or even in where was that one place in Europe? It was like Austria, I think, had one of those bus bombings. I believe it was Austria. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there will be a spiritual hum, like a that you will feel in your soul when that collective consciousness goes. That's where that same hum, that same collective consciousness is where prayer comes from. That's where the start of prayer comes from. It's that spiritual hum. See where I'm going with this, I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that you all see where I'm going with this. But the reason why we should pray is not because we're in despair, but that's most of the reasons why we do praise when we just have the greatest despair in our life. Especially for us pagans. I'm just going to say Wiccan and pagan all are pagans or atheists. That's why most of us, when something tragic happens in our life, for example, my daughter, I thought I was going to lose her. I really did. And she's still not very well. And she's coming home. And I have to be on strict routines and strict protocols with her to the point where it's like, it's kind of like, oh my God, how do I get through this moment? And then your soul prays. Or you physically pray, end up finding yourself physically praying when you don't really believe in prayer or don't really trust in prayer that it will work, but you're praying to the universe saying, please don't let this happen to me. The ones that came from despair or know despair or is living in despair know what I'm talking about. It's the situations in your life where you just pray. You just pray. Just say, please don't let this happen. I see this lobster coming out from the depths, and I don't know why Rider Waite uses a lobster for fear. Maybe he had a thing for lobsters, I don't know. But it's one of those things that we just pray that this does not happen to me. Just don't let this happen to me. And on my anniversary, July 4th, I thought my daughter was gone. Just accept the fact. She's gone. She's dead. She's not coming back. And having that feeling, a dread over you. And just to find out 2 weeks later, a month later, this is about a month later, she's living and she's coming home. Prayer has been answered. I didn't mean to get emotional there for a second, but that's why we pray. It's that hope. It's the star card saying that she's coming home. They're coming home. Or the world is a better place. That's why we do these protests. It's the hope of completion. It's the hope of something good will come out. That's why we should pray. That's why we should pray. And if you don't believe in prayer, meditate. Give that time to yourself. Give that reflection to yourself. And acknowledge that we're connecting to some sort of universal consciousness. I'm just talking to you atheists out there for a second. We're collectively connecting to a consciousness, and just accept that maybe you don't believe in prayer, you don't believe in meditation, you don't believe in all the spiritual hoogie-doos. I get you. I get you. I get you. You don't believe in the spiritual hoogie-doos, but just at least give it a chance to believe that we're connecting to each other in a universal way when you're at least spending 5 minutes with yourself and just in reflection. And that's what the Hermit card teaches us. Spend 5 minutes with yourself in reflection and knowing that we're all connected in this world. That's all I'm asking. I get you. I get you. But, and then that's where we get to the hangman. And this is where the last stage of prayer comes in. In the major arcana, at least. I'm not going to go into the minors today. Because I could pull out every card in the minors. And yeah, prayer. No. I'm not going to do that today. But, then that's where you get to the hangman. It's the surrendering of the situation you're in. Or the surrendering of the aftermath of prayer. He still probably is in the act of praying. Don't get me wrong. The hangman is still in the act of praying. And it's just he's just suspended now and accepting what's afterwards. It's the accepting and the surrendering that happens with prayer. I guess that's what I want to talk to you about today. It's just even though you don't believe, connect to that universal consciousness. Even though if you're not praying to a big dude standing upstairs smoking a hookah. I get it. You're not praying to a deity, I should say. At least be comfortable praying with the universal consciousness that we're all together connected to. And put your spiritual intentions for world peace. Put your spiritual intentions in self-peace. And that's where I'm getting to with my story. Be good, excellent to yourself, and excellent to each other. And do what you need to do to get to that place of prayer. Whether it being for yourself, for somebody else, to the divine. But just be happy in that space. And that's my lecture for today. And I hope that wasn't too long. It was a half an hour long video about prayer. Tarot and prayer. And that's why Bon Jovi's living on a prayer still. And in my video with Bon Jovi, continuing praying. Living on a prayer. I'm hoping that I could still do the tarot perspective tomorrow and continue with all that stuff tomorrow. But, concluding my video today, at least have some self-reflection time today if you don't believe in praying to something. Pray with yourself, meditate with yourself, connect to that collective consciousness that we all are. And party on, dudes.